live from the Average Joe Nation studios in St. Clair, Missouri. This is the Average Joe Podcast, a show that proves that in this crazy world, a combination of common sense and a C-plus average is actually a superpower. Sure, he's crazy, but what if he's right? Please welcome your host, Damon Gilbert.
You know, I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine yesterday. It was about Donald Trump. Donald J. Trump, the 45th president of the United States of America, right? Somebody we all like. Don't get me wrong. I like this guy. Still do. Still like him. I think he's basically a hero as far as the United States is concerned. He saved us from a disastrous time had Hillary Clinton won. But here's the deal. I know he's been banned from Twitter, and I know he's been banned from YouTube. He's been banned. I think he's been banned from just about everything, and I understand that. And so he decided to start his own platform, which was fine. I thought it was an excellent idea. Personally, if you want to talk about Donald Trump when he first got elected, when he was running for office back in 2015, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't a big fan. I really wasn't. I knew of him just like everybody else. He was on the Apprentice and all that. Who cares? I never really thought much of him. I always liked what he said. I always did. I always thought when I saw him in interviews, he was very consistent. He was against the Iraq War. He was against invading Afghanistan. China is our biggest enemy. Go down the list. And he was very consistent. If you looked at things that he said in the 80s, the late 80s, and through the 90s, he was very consistent with all that. And then once 2000s rolled around after 9/11, he was very consistent about what about responding to all this. And it was great. I liked him at that level. As far as personality, the times I saw him in interviews, he was kind of obnoxious and blowhard, full of himself, and that's fine. I don't care. But at the end of the day, when you had him going up against Hillary Clinton, who's probably one of the most evil people on the planet, I was all over it. The things he was saying, I agreed with 100%. He spoke like a blue-collar worker. He talked about things that I was interested in. You know the drill. I mean, I don't want to bore you with this, but the point I'm getting to is, the other night I saw him on Sean Hannity's show on Fox, and at that, Trump was talking about the war, or the military action, whatever you want to call it. And I've looked in. Well, I'll get into that later. But Mr. Trump said something that I totally disagree with. Now, I want to go back. I did not agree with everything he did as president. I really didn't. Giving offensive weapons to Ukraine, I thought was a mistake. Bombing Syria because of payback to Russia, I thought that was a mistake. There was a lot of things he did that I didn't agree with, but the majority of them I did. So that's how you have to work it. I'm not an acolyte. Let's put it that way. So again, I saw him on Sean Hannity the other night. I don't know if you saw it, but he referred to the military action going on in Ukraine right now. He said that Putin is committing genocide. Now, folks, that's a bad thing to say. You can call him a war criminal. You can call him a punk. You can call him a bully. You can call him whatever you want. But you cannot say that he's committing genocide. I don't know who gave Donald Trump that advice, who mentioned that to him, if he decided this on his own. I really don't know. But I tell you what, folks, he's giving indications he's going to run in 2024, and I'm all for that if it works out. But as I was talking to a friend of mine, I don't know that that's going to be the best move overall. I really don't. And hear me out on this. Donald Trump's pushing. Well, he's getting up in his late 70s. Okay. Now we all know that Joe Biden is completely oblivious to anything that's going on around him right now. He's demented. He has dementia. There's no getting around it. We have got a commander-in-chief who is completely clueless. If you see, last night he was giving a speech. I'm not sure where it was at. I think it was in University of Pennsylvania. He claims that he was a professor, which was total nonsense. He had one of those he was given a position, is what he was. He was making $900,000 a year doing it, showing up at the school 6 times, something like that. That doesn't make you a professor, even if it's. But anyway, that aside, and then he did a handshake with nobody there, which, I don't know, it depends on how you look at it. The point is, the guy's kind of creepy. I talked about that yesterday. I certainly wouldn't let him watch my children at any time in his career. But back to Donald Trump. You really can't go out and say things like that. And I don't know, is he trying to torpedo his re-election campaign? Is that what this is all about? Does Don not want to do this anymore? Because I tell you what, he's at the tail end. He's on the back 9 of his life. He really is. Does he really need this aggravation? And I'm talking for him and his family. I mean, for instance, just to give you an idea where I'm going with this, and my friend said he was and he was correct. He said if he doesn't run, then the mainstream media and the left win. Because I was saying, do you really want to go through another 4 years of this? Because, I mean, not a whole lot got done in those 4 years, if you remember correctly. We got some things done, and he fought, but they fought him every step of the way. They were constantly having him in court. They were constantly doing investigations. We impeached him twice. Do you really want to go through that again, or do we want a new guy? And I mean, Ron DeSantis would be my guy right now if I had to choose. Either him or Rand Paul. Those two would be the guys that I would want to run. Now, would it be advantageous for Donald Trump to bow out and pick one of these people to be his successor? Would that be the right move? I don't know. I'm sure, time will tell, of course. But saying things like that, calling Putin saying that he's committing genocide, I thought was a little odd, because those are pretty strong words, especially coming from a country who has killed God knows how many millions of people, and on his watch as well. Don't let anybody kid you. He didn't start any new wars, but there were several going on. There were people killed on his watch, and I'm sure he signed off on killing people. The point is that, do we really want this to happen again? I don't know. My friend again argued the point that it would be you would be admitting defeat and letting the left win, and that may be true at some level, but I think that Donald Trump would probably behind the scenes be more powerful in the long run. Now, having said that, the reason I want to bring up one particular instance that leads me to believe that maybe he's not thinking about doing this. Now, his new platform, Truth Social, that started in February, I guess it was February, which you literally had to get on a waiting list to get on it. And I finally got on it, and I post there every day, usually every day. But here's the interesting thing: this is Donald Trump's platform. This was going to be his alternative to Twitter, where he could speak out to the masses on a daily basis, or whenever he felt like it. He could do it every day if he wanted, every minute if he wanted to. He's got almost 1 million followers on there right now. But here's the thing: he's only used it one time since this thing started. I find that odd because if you really, really wanted to, influence the masses and get back to where you were at, there are better ways to do it than putting one post out there in 2 months and going on Hannity every once in a while. I just don't see that as a guy that's aggressively trying to look for a new way back in. Because I can tell you right now, the Republicans don't like him either. The people in power, McConnell, all those, they don't like him. They don't like Trump. He upset the cart. He really did. And I love that. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love that he did not play the game according to their rules. And I love that. And I think Ron DeSantis would probably do the same thing, because he's running Florida completely different than anybody in D.C. would have done. He just is. And he's younger. He's got, I don't know if he's got any skeletons in closets. I never looked at that. But if I were Donald Trump and I was really, really thinking about running in 2024, the problem is, I hate to jump around here, but I got so many thoughts coming in my head, it's hard to keep track of them sometimes. Here's the thing: he's pushing. He's in his late 70s, which, if you look at Joe, that becomes an issue. And if it does become an issue, which I don't think Joe's going to finish out his first term, I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's capable of it. I mean, if they do drag him to the finish line, it's going to be quite a show, because he's going to lose it at some point. Right now he's incoherent when he speaks. So that will become an issue, because he's basically the same age. He's a little bit older than Donald Trump. So do we want that fight? Do we want that battle? I don't know. I don't know if we do or not. Now, having put that all to bed, I want to make sure we're clear on this. If Donald Trump runs and he gets the nomination, there's a big difference between running for president and getting the nomination. Getting the nomination, there are a lot of moving parts to that. Will he be able to do that? He was the last time. That was been, 5 years ago? 5 years ago? 6 years ago? Yeah, that's a while back. You know, you things change. You get older, you get slower, everybody does. So will he be able to take on these 15 people that will probably be running against him? Because I guarantee there are going to be outsiders looking to weasel their way into this. Ted Cruz would be one of them. There'll be many, many others. So he'll have to fight a battle. I don't think he'll get it without any kind of... Pence is even talking about running. I think he's mentioned that at some time or another. So do we want that? I don't know. It's just food for thought. Again, I'm a complete and total Trump fan. I love the way he did it. His biggest problem was that he did not connect with the American public on a daily basis. I said that from the get-go. I said that what he should have done, instead of Truth Social or whatever, he should have developed Trump TV right from the get-go. He should have had it in place before the election. And in other words, Trump TV. It would be all about... it would be a version of Fox, but without the Murdochs involved. Okay, you would have people like Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and maybe not Sean, but the point is, you would have people on there. It wouldn't even have to be a 24/7 station, but you would want the president or Donald Trump to speak to the American public on a daily basis. I thought that what they should have done, and if I had been running the show, we would have had cameras in the White House. We would have had cameras in the Oval Office every single day. Every single day, I would like for him to sit down for 15 to 20 minutes, work it into your schedule. You know, tell the ambassador from Zimbabwe you're not going to be able to make it to that luncheon, okay, kind of thing. And just put those things aside and do it every single day. Just for a few minutes, talk to the American public. Explain to them what we're doing, how we're doing it, our goals, how we're going to get there. You know, make sure that you make the American public aware that you know of the problems going on right now. Lay the blame where it belongs. If it's your fault, take the heat for it. Okay, this nonsense of blaming, like Biden does, of blaming Putin for inflation and high gas prices is ridiculous. The inflation was running at 7.5% before Putin invaded Ukraine. It has nothing to do. The two have nothing to do with each other. Has it contributed at this point? Of course it has. But at the end of the day, this was policy that had this problem. And if it's policy you screwed up and you know it, you need to own it. People respect people who take responsibility for their actions. That's what I thought they should do. I thought, have Trump TV, have it on, buy your own radio, or your own station. I don't know, buy a cable show, whatever you have to do. Believe me, he could have done it. But I just think that he's lost interest. That's what I think. I think he doesn't mind going on Sean Hannity once in a while and complaining about what's going on, and that's fine. But when you're not tweeting, which is basically what Truth Social is, it's the conservative version of Twitter, supposedly. But he's not even using it, and I find that odd. That he's not doing that. And now we're talking about him being allowed back on Twitter if Elon Musk buys Twitter, which is, on another subject completely. I hope Elon's on the up and up on this. I really do. I hope this is not a PR stunt. I really do hope it is, because if he could pull that off, that would be magnificent for the world. If Twitter would become a free speech platform, I don't see that happening. They're going to go after him big time. They really are. They're planning right now in those under that rock that they live in and in those storm shelters and in the basements of their moms and dads. They're planning on how to take him on and destroy him, or at least attempt to. Yeah, and I know Elon's got a lot of money, but that doesn't make him invulnerable to these kind of attacks. Believe me, they're going to come. They're going to come. Twitter has had enough of this. These people that work there, they literally had to have a day off. Do you believe that? Twitter actually gave their employees a day off because of the stress that was involved with Elon Musk buying 9% of their company. You can't make this up. We are one of the weakest generations that America has ever seen, possibly in the entire world. I've never seen more weak people in my life. That generation, it's pathetic. I would hate to depend on them to keep the wolves from the door. I really would. This is something else. But again, back to Donald Trump. I hope he runs, and I hope he does it for all the right reasons. I don't think he should be forced into it. I think he should do it, but I get the feeling that maybe he's just bored with this. The White House is boring. He can do more things. I mean, he's out playing golf. He's a guy. He should be doing what Biden should be doing right now, enjoying his golden years. I really believe that. Why not? And I know he thrives on a lot of this stuff, but you gotta admit it had to be going through hell for his wife and his kids and his grandkids and everybody. I know if I was Melania, I wouldn't want anything to do with it. I really wouldn't. They were so hard on her, and she's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. And yet they try to compare her to Michelle or whatever, Obama, and say that I don't even understand that. And now we're all of a sudden Jill Biden is she's some kind of goddess. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. You're either blind or you're plain lying to me, because that I know the difference between a gorgeous woman and a mediocre woman. Melania Trump is gorgeous. Okay. So I don't know. Is Don going, hey, I don't want to do this. I don't think he wanted to do it last time, to be perfectly frank with you. When this all took place originally, and he said he was going to run for president, I told my wife, I said, hey, he's just doing this. Believe me, he's sitting at the breakfast table going, and Melania's going, well, what are you talking about? Why are you running for president? He goes, I had this vision of Trump going, hey, hon, don't worry about it. I'm not going to win this. This is all for PR. It's to get my name out there, right? And then he started saying things that people liked, and one thing led to another, and it snowballed. Do you think he wants to go through that again? Just being out on the campaign trail has got to be one of the most excruciating, exhaustive things that you could do in life. I really believe that. You got to be on 100% of the time. And that's hard to do when you're late 70s. It really is. It's hard for me to do, and I'm in my early 60s. So you can imagine what it's like as you get older. I can't imagine my father, who's 85, trying to give a speech 3 or 4 times a day, and maybe even more. Travel, all that. I just don't see it happening, guys. I really don't. I hope if he does run, I will 100% support him. I'll send him money. Any of his candidates that he backs, I'm 100% behind. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I'm not 100% sure that Donald Trump is going to be the next Republican candidate running for president. I just don't believe it. I don't know that that's going to happen. And is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? I don't really know. I think time will tell, obviously, but we got a lot of people in the mix that could take the reins. I really believe that, and maybe that would be the way to go. But anyway, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That is not why I was making this. My friend and I were talking yesterday, and I got to thinking about it, and I thought, he may be right, and the left may think they won, but at the end of the day, it may be a good thing. So anyway, that's all I got today. And again, I want to thank everybody for listening. I really appreciate it. It makes my day. It really does. If you've got any questions or anything, you can email me. I think you can comment on my website. Send me a thumbs up, whatever you want to do. I'd appreciate it. And again, I appreciate you listening. And we will be back with the news ASAP.
A little bit of crazy, but a whole lot of right. You're listening to the Average Joe Podcast with Damon Gilbert.
All right, first, the first story today is about Joe Biden. Apparently, he was giving a speech yesterday at the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University in Greensboro. He gave a 40-minute, apparently rambling speech where he had the audacity to blame, which I told you, and it was coming, that everything under the sun was going to be blamed on Putin and coronavirus. Well, in this instance, he blamed. See, we take no responsibility for anything we do. It's the Democrats. We just don't. We blame everybody else. It has nothing to do with us. We're super intelligent. And if you people, you idiots out there would just listen to us, this would all go down and it would all work out. That's what he's telling you right here. Instead of owning this and saying, yeah, we got some problems and we need to work on it. No, that's not what he's saying. And then he has the audacity to claim that he was a full professor at UPenn, University of Pennsylvania, despite never teaching a class at the university. He's saying, I'm Professor Biden from Penn. Yeah, right, whatever. Well, I don't even know. What's he talking about? This guy is a lunatic. I mean, he really is not. Now, I will say this. He did get paid by the University of Pennsylvania. Imagine that. He got paid to make appearances there. I think $900,000 a year. That doesn't make you a professor. It just doesn't. So, let's see. Next story is, oh yes, there's been a study done by, let's see, who did the study? I think it was Washington Free Beacon did a study. They dug into this and they said, yes, the media buries the race of murderers if they're not white. How about that? Does that surprise you? Because Frank James, the man arrested for Tuesday's New York City subway shooting, is a black nationalist, okay? An outspoken racist who rallied against whites, Jews, Hispanics, okay? Now, a careful read of the New York Times, you could be forgiven for overlooking that. In the 2,000-word article on the attack, James' race is not mentioned. Don't you find that? Now, let's just say for the sake of argument, that James here, Frank, was a white supremacist. Maybe he had a Confederate flag in his front yard. Maybe he had a Nazi tattooed on his arm. You think we'd know about that? You think the New York Times would bring that up? You probably would be correct. Yeah. So anytime you see this, and I'm sure this is not the first time you've been told this because it is 100% accurate, they do not, under any circumstances, mention that a person is black. I've seen it in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. I've seen it with our local TV stations when they post to Twitter or post to Facebook. They'll mention there was a shooting in North St. Louis, not a mention of the race, which I find hilarious because it if nothing else, it just tells you exactly what you need to know. There's an agenda, and it doesn't matter if you look at any of the left-leaning news sources. They have an agenda. They're not going to tell you the truth. So why listen to them? Kind of like no one's listening to CNN. I don't know if you've seen that, but CNN Plus has been a complete and total disaster, which I said from the get-go when I first heard that mention that they were going to do that. I thought, why in God's name would you have something that you have to pay for that you wouldn't watch if it was free? And I know cable's not technically free, but you know what I'm saying. It comes with a package deal. No one will watch CNN then. Why in God's name would I pay $6 a month to watch even a worse version of it? So, anyway, that's I find that interesting. They actually they actually looked into this, and yeah, they do bury the race. Let's see. Oh yeah, Joe Biden apparently has referred business and mingled finances with son Hunter. The messages show, I guess, emails and texts. And apparently this is getting pretty deep. I don't think anything's ever going to come of it. If anything, they're going to use this as a way to get rid of Joe at some point. If the left has finally had enough of this guy, they're going to use this. They're going to force him to resign based on this. I don't think Hunter's going to ever see the inside of a jail cell. And even if he does, he'll take the hit, spend 6 months in a country club, and then walk out a free man, and all of this will be just swept under the rug, and no one cares. Yeah, that's what I look for to happen. Let's see. Oh, Jen Psaki is she apparently had a high. No, where was she? She was on She was on a podcast, I guess. Yeah. And she called Ducey a stupid son of a bitch again. Yeah. She's I don't know. I don't think she's from this planet. I really don't. I think she's a plant by aliens. I really do. I'm reading a book on that right now. I'm going to get into that at some point. And I know it sounds crazy and everything, but I tell you what, some of these people are not from around here. The things they do, it leads you to believe that they just have absolutely no conscience and no concept of how a human being would behave. Am I wrong? Am I wrong on that? Even if it's not an invasion by a civilization from outer space or something, you get the feeling sometimes of these people. Did you go out and recruit all the psychopaths that you could find in the entire nation and hired every one of them to work for you? It's like they went out of their way. They said, okay, could you kill your mother for an increase in your stock portfolio? Yes, I could. Okay. Could you let your children die if it meant that you would look as a hero and get elected to the position you're running for? Yes, I would. I mean, go down the list. I'm being serious here. These people are not normal. And I've said that from the get-go. I don't know where they got these people. They're all lunatics. Every one of them. This Psaki, she is something else. She really is. This new Supreme Court justice. Oh my God, where did you find this one? Do you have to recruit these people? I didn't know these people this evil existed, unless they were in jail or they're serial killers. The lack of the lack of conscience, just it scares me to death that these people are this sick. I've never seen anything like it. So Psaki's going to be on MSNBC at some point, it sounds like. So she'll be forgotten about. That'll be the end of that. She'll make her money, and that'll be it. And she'll be gone. I don't think it's going to work. It hasn't worked for her. She could be quite possibly the worst. She is by any standard. She is the worst press secretary America's ever seen. No doubt about it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Speaking of psychopaths, Maxine Waters is still paying her daughter from campaign money. She's still paying her. She paid her $24,000, and it adds up to $1.2 million that she has given her daughter out of her campaign financing, which, in my opinion, that is absolutely against the law. But because she's black and she's been around for 1,000 years, she's going to get away with it. Okay? Because apparently Miss Omar, from the Democrat from Minnesota, she's paid almost $3 million to her husband, not her brother, that was the other husband, to her brother for political consulting fees. These people are beyond horrible. They really are. And we just let them do it. The club that they're in just allows them to do it, and there's not a thing you or I can do about it. We could raise so much hell about this, write letters. No one would care. No one would care because they're all doing it. All of them. Yeah. Well, 95% of them. I shouldn't say all. That's painting with a pretty wide brush. But most of them are doing this, and it's a cash cow, and they know it. Speaking of psychopaths, Patrisse Cullors, the BLM activist, the one that I guess started BLM, the one that bought the house with $6 million in October of 2020. She bought it with donor cash. She's saying she has the audacity to say the BLM was insolvent before her $6 million mansion buy. Yeah, I don't know what that kind of. It's baffling. It's baffling that anyone could say this out loud. It really is. Don't you have any kind of self-respect? You shouldn't be out talking to anyone anyway. You're going to be under investigation if there's any justice in this world. This woman should be behind bars. She should be. But because she's the head of Black Lives Matters, they're probably not going to do it. But she is an evil person. I see it in her eyes. I really do. And again, did we recruit the psychopaths? Is that what we did? Did I miss that ad that was in the Penny Saver or online that we need psychopaths to run the Democratic Party. It amazes me. It really does. But anyway, she's trying to claim that they were dead broke before she bought the $6 million mansion. I don't even know what that means. I really don't. They have taken money, not putting it back in, not giving any of it to the black community. None of it. Kept it all for themselves. And now she's trying to justify that. She's trying to explain it. Yeah, unbelievable the audacity of these people. Yeah, that was about the professor thing. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Yeah, Warnock. You know who I'm talking about? Georgia Democrat Senator Raphael Warnock. You've heard of him, right? I think he was the one that finished a term for someone who bowed out. I can't remember exactly the stories, but apparently now this is a black guy, okay, and he reminds me of a TV preacher, one of them that doing a dance up on stage and got everybody. Yeah, you've seen him on TV. Yeah, the self-proclaimed TV evangelist. This guy's he's a piece of work. But anyway, apparently his 2016 marriage to this, I can't even say her name. It's Oli Nagdoy. It's headed to divorce court. It was headed to divorce court in 2019 and ended in 2020. Well, apparently they've got some child custody issues they haven't nailed down yet. Well, he's trying to. Let's see. He'll be facing an uphill battle to win a full term of his own. He's asking a judge to seal the court records of the custody dispute. I think that's hilarious. He may get away with it because he's black. I mean, it's a distinct possibility. They may just go and say, well, yeah, you're probably right. But I think that's funny because anyone else in this position, I mean, what have they done to Trump? What have they done to Trump? What have they done to every white politician in America? They dig into their background. They don't care what it's about, and they bring it to light. They bring it out to the public, and they tell everyone about it. And Warnock, now suddenly he thinks it is probably bad for his political career if they find out what went on behind the scenes. I think that is absolutely just the epitome of hypocrisy. It really is. It really is. So I don't know. The judge hasn't ruled on it yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if he gets away with it because of the color of his skin. And I mean, you could say I'm a racist. That's fine. I don't give a damn. It just shows you that it's true. This guy is a scumbag. He is the equivalent of Maxine Waters. He's the male version of it. And I know I'm not a biologist, but I do know what a man looks like, and I know what a woman looks like. So I guess I'm qualified to run for to become a Supreme Court justice, right? Because I'm not a biologist, and I do know that. And apparently, our newest judge on the Supreme Court doesn't know what the difference between a man and a woman. I digress, though. Let's see. What was the next one? Oh yes, I forgot about this. The White House, again, going back to psychopaths and redheaded, pale psychopaths. The buck stops over there always. That is the call sign for the Biden administration and the Biden White House. Instead of what Harry Truman said back in the 40s, the buck stops here. He used to keep a dollar bill on his desk in the White House, and he'd say the buck stops here. Not in this case. In this case, the Joe Biden administration says the buck stops over there. Always. Yeah. They're trying to blame, again, Putin for everything. The price hikes, you name it. This Ukraine invasion came at the perfect time. They goaded this guy into this so they could blame everything on this. And COVID. When they're in a pinch, they'll blame it on COVID too. So again, I go back to these people are psychopaths at a level that I've never seen before in my life. It's shameful what's going on. It really is. It's not even that I hate these people. It's just that they have no self-respect. They're all after and I know at the end of the day it's all about money. I've said that for years and years and years, and it's always been true. It's always about the money. But don't you have any self-respect? Can't you make the money and still have self-respect? And you can do it illegally. They all do it. Every politician's done something that's at least in the gray area. You know that as well as I do. Most people have. I've done it. You do things that are just like, Yeah, I don't know. That's a little over the line, but I feel bad about it. I may even lose some sleep over it, because I got a conscience. How these people sleep at night is beyond me. That Jen Psaki could be she's the ugliest one I've ever seen in my life. That McEnany, the blonde of Trump's, good-looking gal, smart. She may be the same way, but most of the time they owned up to their screw-ups. They did. The buck did stop there, but not in the Biden White House. The buck stops over there, and it's always going to stop over there. We're not taking any heat for any of this, right? I think that's shameful. I really do. The most shameful administration I've ever seen in my life, and it's kind of embarrassing, and it makes me sad to think that there are people out there who are so, I don't even know if the word evil would be the word you would use. I guess just indifferent to how people perceive them. And again, I'm not a big fan of worrying about what other people think, but you're talking about a position where that is basically the bottom line. I mean, if you're a truck driver and you get into an argument with somebody and they say, well, you're not a very nice person, I really don't give a rat's ass what you think. I really don't. But at the end of the day, this is about trying to help America stay on the right track. And these people are devoid of any ability to do that. And I don't know if it's on purpose or it's just that they're that incompetent. And I hope to God, I really do hope it's not the incompetent part. I would actually prefer that you're doing this on purpose. It would make me feel better. It would. It would make me feel safer at night, knowing that it's not about incompetence. This is a plan we have. Okay, because I don't know. Some of the things they do are beyond belief. So anyway, that's enough about that. And I appreciate you listening again, as I said. And we will talk again Monday. And you guys have a good weekend. And it is April 15th. And Joe Biden is still the worst president in American history. Let's go, Brandon.
As always, thanks for listening to the Average Joe podcast. Be sure to check out our website at www.averagejoenation.media and follow us on social media. Remember, if you haven't told all your friends, you're wrong.